こんにちは、です。今回は英語を勉強してからどれぐらいで英語が話せるようになるのかということについてオンライン英会話のCamblyの先生に聞いてみました。今回登場する先生はイギリス人の先生でこれまで5年以上ですね、Camblyで様々な生徒さんを教えている先生なので、いろんな人のいろんな成長を見てきたと思います。で、今回ですね、どれぐらい勉強すれば英語で話せるようになるのかっていうところについてちょっと焦点を当てて会話をしてみました。で、今回この動画の最後にはですね、私の簡単な意見についてもですね、お話ししようと思ってますので、もし興味ある方は最後まで見てください。で、動画を見る前に、今回の会話のスクリプト、こちら公式 LINE からこのキーワードを入れることによってダウンロードできるようになっていますので、もしスクリプトを使って勉強したいよっていう方はですね、公式 LINE からダウンロードするようにしてください。それでは早速会話を見ていきましょう。どうぞ。
How long do you think usually take for an English learner to be able to speak English?
Okay. So first of all, I think it depends on like how much knowledge of English they have beforehand, because I know particularly in Japan, there's a lot of students where they'll be studying kind of quite academically, or they do a lot of reading and stuff where they're not actually practicing speaking. So they think like, oh, I don't know any English, but the truth is they do. It's all like hidden up here somewhere. But like you said, there's no opportunity to like articulate themselves and like have a proper conversation. If you've got a good foundation of vocabulary already, like in here, I think if you're practicing like a few times per week to have a conversation, I would say as simple as like a few months. So I think as long as you're practicing like constantly, I think that you can get to a kind of conversational level in just a few months. I mean, you're not going to be like super fluent, or you're not going to sound perfect at every situation. But as long as you can express the things that you want to say, then I think, it doesn't actually take as long as people think. Like to sound like really, really natural and fluent and using all these fancy words, that's a different story. Of course, that can take years. But I think, getting to the point where you can have simple chats with people probably doesn't take that long. Probably just a few months if you stick at it and you've already got some vocabulary behind you.
So whether or not they have the strong foundations or not is the first really important requisite for to get to that level. So what if they didn't have any foundations, like only just scratching the surface of learning English is the only thing that they have done? What kind of story they think they will have to go through?
Okay. So I think, like we said, like many times before, input is really important. So you would have to start with that. I think building up your vocabulary is probably the best thing that you can do if you're a beginner. Because like we said, if you don't have vocabulary, if you don't have words, then what are you going to do? Like how do you communicate anything? How do you understand what the other person is saying as well? That's also really important, right? So I would start with like vocabulary, getting used to grammar structures. You don't have to focus on like really complex grammar. I think if you're getting good input, then the the most common grammar structures will become apparent to you as you study, right? I think if you're starting from zero, I would say probably you should spend a few months just inputting and just trying to get as much vocabulary as you can and like some comprehensible input. And then after that, maybe you can start speaking. But I think definitely you have to have that input first. So maybe then probably like 6 months, at least 6 months, I would say, or up to a year. It depends on the person. But
do you have any students who didn't know anything about English when they started taking lessons from you, but now can speak English really well?
Honestly, no, because I think with English these days, especially for adults, it's very rare for me to meet somebody who doesn't know anything, because everybody is going through the education system somewhere, whether it's good education or bad education, they're still getting something, right? So I think it's really rare for me to meet true beginners that really don't know anything. I think everybody's got like a little bit up here.
So how about students who at least know the very basics of English, like what they would go through in compulsory education, but nothing more than that.
Okay.
And have been taking lessons from you for a certain length of period of time. And now you think that they improved a lot and they were not really able to communicate at all when they started, but now they can, you know, continue a conversation. Do you have such students?
Yeah, I think if you're taking lessons more regularly, like maybe it doesn't have to be long, but frequency I think is better. So like 3 times per week, you chat with the tutor. And yeah, I think if you can go through it like 6 months, you can actually improve a huge amount in 6 months. Maybe at the time you don't really feel it, but if you look back at like your first lessons, you'll realize that there's a huge difference. And yeah, I have had some students like that. But also not only are they taking lessons with me, they're also taking the initiative to find their own interests in English. And yeah, even outside of the classroom, they're learning English from somewhere or other. So yeah, I think when you ask like, oh, how long does it take? It really depends how many hours you want to put into it or how many hours you decide that you have, right? So
it's a very big question, right? There's so many variables in the equation. So
but yeah, I think just like developing good habits, even for people that say, oh, you know, I don't have time to study English. I think everybody can spare 20 minutes every day, whether it's in the morning or the afternoon, and like developing some good habits like that is crucial, I think.
Right. So you think there is a stronger correlation between the frequency of lessons and their growth, like rather than the quantity of lesson or the amount of time they spend per lesson and their growth?
Well, yeah, I think not just for English, but this is my experience when I study like Japanese or something else. If I'm only taking 1 lesson per week, I feel like it's not enough, because by the time I get to the next week, I feel my brain is cold again. I don't know how to make sentences, right? But if I'm having it at least twice a week or best 3 times a week, even if it's just for like 30 minutes, you don't have to have like a 1-hour lesson, but just having that opportunity to chat for 20-30 minutes a few times per week, I think is actually better than having like 1 hour of class once a week. So but that's just my personal experience. Like some people might disagree, but
how many times would be the best?
I would say at least 2, and
at
least 2, and maybe you want to put them as far away. So maybe like every 3 or 4 days, like Monday or Friday, or you can have like 3 times per week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, something like that. But I would say if even for really busy people, I think twice a week should be the bare minimum.
Bare minimum. Okay. Surely they can manage to find at least like 30 minutes or so every day, right?
Right.
Maybe 30 minutes in the morning or 30 minutes before they go to bed. You know, surely they have some like what's it called? Gap time? What's the word for it?
Free time, spare time?
A spare time,
Right. I also noticed when regarding like motivation as well. If I've got 1 class per week, that's 1 hour. There might be days where I wake up and I was like, oh God, I really just don't want to do this class today. But I think if it's a 30-minute class, even if you're in a really bad mood, you'd be like, it's okay. It's only 30 minutes, right? So yeah, I think it's more like your mindset about it, like having smaller, short classes throughout the week is actually like nicer. And I think you're more likely to stick to it as well.
Yeah. And once you routinize it, it's going to be pretty easy, right? Like it just becomes part of your life, and it will probably become almost like just brushing your teeth pretty much, you know?
Right.
Something that you naturally do without even thinking. So yeah, I think it's really important to force themselves to get into that groove where you don't really feel anything taking lessons, like you don't have emotions for taking lessons. It just becomes part of your life. I think that's
right, exactly.
That's an important thing.
Yeah. And that's how it should be. Like you should be enjoying it, right? You shouldn't be like, oh, I really don't want to take class today, or oh, I'm too lazy for this. Like you should be like, oh, this is what I do. This is what I like. So.
はい、ということでいかがだったでしょうか。ね、今回の質問は結構ちょっとふわっとしてた部分があったと思うんですけれども、どれぐらいの期間で英語を話せるようになるかっていうふうに言ってもですね、1日の平均学習時間とか、これまでの積み上げとかによっていろいろと変数がありますので、回答するの難しかったと思うんですけれども、この先生によりますと、これまでの義務教育レベルでの英語教育の蓄積があった場合、そこから6ヶ月ぐらいで話せるようになるという人もですね、多々いるというようなお話でした。で、私の意見なんですけれども、もうちょっと具体的な話をしていけば、個人的にはだいたい英語が高いレベルで話せるようになる。高いレベルっていうのはだいたいトフルで言うとスピーキングでだいたい23点とか4点とか、それぐらいのレベルですかね。IELTS だったスピーキング6.5 とか7とか、それぐらいのレベルに行くためにはだいたい中学英語レベルの知識がある状態から英語学習を始めてだいたい1200から1300時間で到達できるっていうふうに思ってるタイプなんですけれども、いろんな人がね、いろんな違うことを言うと思いますが、あくまで私はそのように思っています。今回この先生は非常に重要なことを言っていて、インプットがないとアウトプットがないと。で、本当にその通りだと思います。で、ネイティブの先生は結構アウトプット思考型の人結構多いようなイメージがあって、アウトプット思考型っていうのはとにかく話しましょうみたいな。でも実際のところインプットがないとアウトするものがない。実際その箱の中にインされているものがないとアウトがないっていうのは当たり前の話だと思いますので、そういった当たり前なんだけれども重要なポイントっていうのを皆さん見逃さないようにしてしっかりと学習しましょう。なので今全然知識ないけれども話せるようになりたくて話す練習ばっかりしてるんだけれども全然話せるようにならないっていう人はもしかしたらそもそも、話す内容っていうのがあまり幅が広がらない。それはなんでかっていうと知識がないからっていう状態かもしれないので、そこを一回見返してあげるとより良い学習になるかもしれません。それではまた次の動画で皆さんお会いしましょう。バイバイ。